Here's Paddy's latest offer. It's 2 up, you win. We'll pay out immediately if the team you back goes 2 goals up. Available in all Premier League and La Liga matches. Not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Football Postcast. Sunday, Mark, looks a day in which you can put a real dent in the sofa. The amount of live football we've got on. First one at 2:15, Burnley versus Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it will depend to some extent, I suppose, what United do team-wise, because they were in action on Thursday against Anderlecht, and we're speaking before that. They've got City next Thursday as well. So I'm taking it on trust that they'll kind of still be going for it in the Premier League to try to qualify for the Champions League via the top 4. So I was going to go for United to win to 0. Burnley have only scored 2 goals in their last 5 matches. They've got a very good home record, but they're not a team I'm madly in love with. We spoke about shot stats earlier on. I mean, they're a team sort of towards the bottom of the table in that department.
Who are the best and worst in the Premier League then in terms of shots? You know, off the top of your head?
Well,
Spurs and Borough are the worst.
Yeah, that's right. Spurs are the top, Borough are the worst. I mean, in terms of maybe who was punching above their weight earlier on in the season, you'd probably say Arsenal, because they were, I think that their shot ratio was pretty low even when they were doing quite well. But
they're 7th top.
Yeah, so I mean that goes to show it really, you know, that Arsenal not doing very well this season. I just don't really see where Burnley's goals will come from in this game. I've been pretty impressed with United defensively. They're unbeaten in the Premier League now, going way back to that 4-0 hammering that they took against Chelsea when it was late October. So I think United to win to 0.
Do we think there might be a stage this season, if they continue to progress in the Europa League, where Mourinho might down tools in the league?
I
It's
think
happened already, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he has rested, I suppose, to some extent.
Because their aim is obviously Champions League football, and their best chance is arguably Europa League.
It's difficult though, because I think he's still, you know, you can't put everything into that, can you? And they keep on getting encouragement in terms of that top 4. So I think we'll know more after this little batch of matches. When they play Burnley and Man City, I think they'll know exactly, and the Europa League quarterfinals, who they've got in the semi-finals, we'll know exactly. But obviously rested Mkhitaryan and Ibra for that game against Chelsea. Didn't matter there. They were solid defensively, decent enough going forward. I'll take them to win to 0.
Keep an eye on the team sheet. United, Wilco?
Yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be quite a comfortable afternoon for United, really. Everybody's talks about, it's always tough going to Burnley, but they've the Clarets are sort of like they're whimpering a bit towards the end of the season. They've won 1 of their last 10 matches. It's a good job they've got a few points in the bank. Otherwise, they would have perhaps got dragged down into a bit of trouble. United have been excellent. I mean, we've talked about how they're unbeaten for such a long time in the league, but their away form's been really good. They're getting over the line. They've won 7 and drawn 2 of their last 9 away. Like Mark, I'd be concerned about Burnley creating enough chances to trouble them too much. So United -1 on the handicap at 13-8. I could see them perhaps winning 2-0 because 6 of the last 7 games at Turf Moor have been unders.
And Griff, Man United, the proverbial good thing on the coupon, I'm guessing their odds on.
Yeah, they're odds on, yeah. I actually disagree with the lads. I was going to say, my bet in this game is actually Burnley +1. I love Burnley at home. We've backing them all season. They've been going off of some crazy prices at home.
Are you still in front then, yeah, I'm guessing?
Yeah, still in front.
With it.
If they keep on going off 2-1 at home to Sunderland, it's just free money, isn't it? But yeah, they actually have more points at home than United this season. So, and United draw so many games. I went for Burnley +1 in this game at 7-5.
Okay, interesting. I'll keep with you. We'll move on to the FA Cup. Arsenal, Manchester City. We've got the Favors for the trophy and the outsiders of the 4. How's the 90 minutes priced up?
So at the moment we have Arsenal are 130. The draw is 11-4, and we're 5-6 City. And
where would you be putting your money there?
So hard to see Arsenal getting a result, isn't it? I think there's such a gulf in class between the two teams. Arsenal weren't very convincing against Borough on Monday Night Football, and City were a much better team in the 2-2 draw recently. So probably City at 5-6, or City to win to 0 for me at 3-1. Can't see any other. I can't see City being beaten here really.
Mark, am I going a bit crazy thinking that 130, we're getting there in terms of what could be an almost a backable price for United?
Everybody has their price.
Arsenal, sorry, yeah.
I can understand. I mean, it's not often that we get Arsenal at these kind
That's
of
what I'm
prices,
saying, yeah.
in a neutral venue, but they've been playing such average football for so long that maybe they're just an average team, and if they are, then Man City probably do deserve to be odds on to beat them. This market has moved quite a lot in favour of City since the draw was made. I can understand it. I mean, last week me and Ian put up Aguero and Sane in the goal scorer markets, and both scored against Southampton. I'm going to go for what Ian suggested last week, and Sane. He's 6 in 13. He scored in both matches against Arsenal, and I think he's absolutely destroyed them. And Guardiola just spotted a weakness in that Arsenal team in that they leave such big gaping holes between the centre-backs and full-backs that the wingers just come inside and run into that space. And Arsene Wenger hasn't been able to solve that. He played 3 at the back at
He
Middlesbrough.
did incredibly, yeah.
Yeah, first time in 20 years. I watched the second half on tactical cam when you press the red button on Sky, just to sort of get a look at how it was working. I didn't think it worked at all. They were just
the tactical cam?
Yeah,
or
the
the three at
tactical
the back?
cam worked brilliantly. The 3 at the back didn't. The wing backs were massively exposed.
Do you think that was a test for this game?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I wonder if the result may tempt him to go with it again, and I'm not sure it would work against a team as good as City. I don't think it worked against a team as bad as Middlesbrough. So, yes, I mean Aguero's got 11 in 11 now, so I mean he's an obvious favourite in that market. But if you wanted somebody outside, I think Sane give you a decent run for your money any time, maybe.
All right, we'll get a price off Griff for that in a second. Wilco, for you, how do we see this one going? 5-6 City?
Yeah, I think they're going to win. There's just so many questions about Arsenal. For them to beat City, we've got to see something different than what we've seen over the last sort of 6 weeks, 2 months. And I don't know whether they've got it in them. I don't know whether they've got the application and the ability to stop City from pushing forward and creating lots of chances. There's been everybody seems to have cottoned onto it this week. They were a shade of odds against earlier in the week, and now they've been quite heavily backed into 5-6. City are on a decent run. They lost at Chelsea, but that's the only defeat they've had in their last 11 games. They're going well. I would think City would win. Having put up Sane last week, and he we got the place money for the each way at Southampton because he got the second goal. Like Mark, I think 7-1 each way on him scoring the first goal again is an excellent bet. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm sticking with it.
Okay, Griff, give us a show the first goal scorer bet in there.
So we have Aguero at 3-1. Gabriel Jesus is 11-2. Iheanacho 9-2. Sanchez is 13-2, and Sané at 7s. Yeah, Sané is top class, isn't he? He 15 million cheaper than Sterling as well, a much better player.
Oh, it sounds good. 15 million cheaper than Sterling.
Then
That's it. Right, I'll keep with you, Griff. We'll move on to Liverpool Palace at 4:30. Got a show there for us?
Yeah, I do. Bear with me 1 second. So we're 2s on Liverpool. We are 100-30 to draw and 11-2 Palace.
2s on Liverpool. That's short.
2s on.
Seems short.
Yeah, they're starting to win ugly, aren't they?
Yep.
Something they never done really under Klopp. Yeah, I think they'll just be too much for West Brom at home. I've been impressed the last few weeks, as I said. They're starting to win ugly like they've never done before under Klopp, which is obviously so important in the English league. Coutinho seems to be back sharp again. Him and Firmino look class the last couple of weeks. So I think for me, Coutinho back on form, 7-5. Anytime looks good for me.
He makes some tick mark, doesn't he, Coutinho?
It does, yeah. I mean, I think there was a clear correlation between their dip and his sort of injury/dip as well. For some of them away games. I mean, there's no Sacco, is there, for Palace because he can't play against his parent club. That's a big blow. I mean, they've got like a Champions League level defender been sort of fighting for them in terms of the relegation. Their battle there. Without him. Just wonder if Palace might go back to being as bad as what they were previously. I'm struggling to find any worthwhile bets in this game. I looked at Wijnaldum, actually, in the first goal scorer each way. just obviously, I'm not quite sure of the status of some of these Liverpool midfielders that have been out, but for as long, if Chan and Lucas continue to play in that midfield, Wijnaldum of the three is the one most likely to be able to break forward, and that might be the way to go in what is a game that I'm struggling to build up too much enthusiasm for.
You're not getting excited by the 2-on about Liverpool then?
Not really. I think it's fair price, right price. So not one I'd be sort of steaming into.
Wilco, are you a little bit more excited about this game than Lango?
It's a busy weekend of football, isn't it? I don't think I'll be switching over from the cup semi-final to watch it. Put it that way, but right. I've been impressed with both teams of late. Actually, Liverpool seem to be sort of like coping with. They've had a few injuries and getting through, and Palace have really shaken their tails in the last few weeks, and they should be really confident of going anywhere really after they've beaten Chelsea and the way that they thumped Arsenal a few weeks ago. Good stat from this: 8 of the last 10 games at Anfield have seen both teams to score, and the 2 teams who didn't score in that run were Spurs and Manchester City. So I would anticipate it could be quite an open game. Big day for Benteke. Yes, playing against his old team, does give a bit of a lift to a player when they're going somewhere, particularly with a point to prove. He scored 5 in his last 5 games. And although I agree with Mark that it is quite hard to find a bet in this game, I think 21-10 that he scores at any time is worth a poke.
What time is he? What price is he to open the scoring, Griff? Benteke?
He's 13-2, and Wijnaldum is 10-1 shot.
Good stuff. Right, we've got 2 more games to get stuck into on Sunday after this.
Here's Paddy's latest offer. It's 2 up, you win. We'll pay out immediately if the team you back goes 2 goals up. Available in all Premier League and La Liga matches. Not available in shops. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Right then, welcome back to the Racing Post Football Postcast, and 2 massive games on Sunday. Kicking off the action at midday, Celtic versus Rangers. Griff, give us a show there for, I'm sure, what will be a feisty one. And more importantly, what price is a red card?
So 2-1 shot on a red card. We are 2-5 Celtic, the draw 7-2, and 13-2 Rangers.
And will you be having a bet in that game yourself?
I probably won't even watch it. It's hard to get out of bed at 12 o'clock to watch Scottish football. In fairness.
Get out of bed at 12 o'clock. Those are the days, eh?
Yeah, so there's 33 points between the 2 teams in the league. It's hard to see anything but a Celtic win, isn't it? Really, probably. Celtic have been ahead 21 times out of 33 games in the league, so probably half time, full time for Celtic at even money. Probably looks the only bet for me in this game.
Okay, Mark, what about yourself for Celtic Rangers in the Cup?
Well, the fact that it's a semi-final, I'm just pointing maybe towards Rangers giving Celtic more of a game. I'm not saying they can win or even take it, to extra time, but they +2 on the handicap. I mean, if you have a look at the matches this season, yes, there was the 5-1 right early on in the campaign, but Rangers have sort of learnt to protect themselves a little bit more in more recent meetings. 1-0, 2-1. There was the 1-1 recently at Parkhead, and I just think that maybe Rangers initially kind of went toe-to-toe with Celtic, thinking that they could match them. Obviously, were absolutely hammered because of the superiority that already Griff has spoken about in terms of the...
Lesson learned there, then,
I think they have. I think they've kind of... not an easy thing to do when you consider yourself to be the same size as Celtic, but I think they realise where they're at as a club and sort of in their development, and have kind of protected themselves a little bit better in more recent matches. So maybe they can at least stay competitive, even if that there is a clear golfing quality between the 2 teams.
Would you agree with that, Wilco?
Yes, I would. I think Mark's highlighted the relevant stats on that about Rangers being thumped 5-1 in September, and there did seem a massive gulf between them at that stage. But the last 3 games have been tight. Celtic needed a goal with 3 minutes to go to beat Rangers in the League Cup. They're at the draw as well, and I think that the nature of a big cup game, it could take extra time to separate them. So I think 7-2 about the draws could be quite a good runner, so a little poke on that wouldn't be too bad.
A little poke on that one. Right, 7:45, Real Madrid, Barcelona. 2 sides that have had contrasting weeks in terms of European success. Mark, but a belter to finish the day.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid, I think it's 54 matches that they've scored in now in consecutive games, which is quite incredible. The last team to keep a clean sheet against Real Madrid was Manchester City, which is quite hilarious, really. That City,
that's a weird stat in more way than one, yeah.
As horrendous as City have been defensively for the last couple of years. That first Clasico was one of the worst games between the two teams that I've seen in a long time, actually. I was looking at under 3.5 goals. Usually the goal line's 2.5, because these are two teams that are renowned for their attacking ability.
Both teams have scored 2 to 7, that kind of thing as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, under 3.5 has landed in 6 of the last 9 Clasicos. I mean, it's not huge field of matches, but I think it does point towards things becoming tighter between these two. Real Madrid, of course, a draw does them brilliantly in terms of the league table. Barcelona have to win if they're to stand any chance of winning the league. I'm just not sure if their free-flowing football is sort of in peak condition at the moment. Saw that against Juventus, who defended reasonably well against them and shut them out in both games. I think this might not be as exciting.
You're talking it down as though it might be a boring.
Well, the first game between them that finished 1-1, 2 second-half goals, was really average. There wasn't much quality on show from either team. And I wouldn't be amazed if this was a bit more of a grind as well than what we've been used to in Clasico games. I think in these type of matches as well, I'm always trying to get against the goals because obviously everybody wants to be with them. So if there is any value, it's probably in going unders.
Do you agree with that? We'll kind of grind of the Clasico.
Well, it seems a funny thing to be saying when 20 of the last 21 meetings both teams have scored in. The only one that didn't happen in that run was when Real Madrid were thumped 4-0 at home last season by Barcelona, and I think that could be a result that's still present in a few Los Blancos minds.
That's unlikely to happen this time around.
Yes, Barcelona, watching them against Juventus, I was taken by the fact that some of their shooting was horrendous would be just sort of like a word to put about. They created enough chances to have got back into that game, but Buffon wasn't worked that much at all. And I think that although lots of people are saying about Barcelona, the midfield's getting overrun, perhaps they're all getting old, age is kind of thing. The three big guns up front, they always seem to be trying to do something spectacular, and at the moment it's not coming off, and they're trying too hard almost. I don't think that they're going to unlock the door against Real Madrid. I don't think that's suddenly going to all come together. And the fact that the motivation of that big defeat last year, coupled with, although they had extra time playing against 10 men, they have had an extra day after their European exploits this week. I think that Real Madrid will see Barcelona off. I think even money's a decent bet.
Serious talent on the field regardless. Griff, just talk goals, and what's the over-under, as Mark mentioned, of both teams to score?
So we are 4-5 on the unders, 10-11 the over, 3.5.
3.5, yeah.
Yeah, there were 3s on, both teams to score, 2-1 now. I think Real look a bet, don't they? Even money. That since Bale's been out, I think Isco's been brilliant. He's really good. That front three, it's hard to see that Barca defence holding out that front three. So I agree. Maybe Real is the bet.
So a good solid anchor to the Sunday multiple then. Is that what we're thinking, Real Madrid?
Well, I mean, there's the 2 votes for it, aren't there? I mean, I'm just not excited by it, Dave. I'm sorry. I need to get more pumped up for it.
You do, yeah. It'll be an absolute belter, I'm sure.
I hope not.
7:45. If Spurs beat Chelsea, you'll be up for anything, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Right, thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate the Postcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, subscribe, do your thing. Gents, thanks for your time, and tune in next week.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus, available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power.